break. We're so excited to finally show you guys the man behind these Out and About with Steve Nichols stories.
Steve Nichols.
We got him. He's here on set with us. We're so excited. What are you going to show us today?
Well, today I went to Shirley, or not today, but I did go to Shirley, Illinois. Yeah, today.
It's early.
Already this morning, he's back. He's turned this whole story.
It's not really my time of the day, but I went to Shirley, Illinois, where they make maple syrup with an I. We'll explain that in the next story.
Awesome. Take a look.
In the dead of winter, it's harvest time, but not for grain. In this old growth forest.
So this is the same way it's been done since it's been done. Taking these buckets, dumping them into 5-gallon pails, and then emptying those pails into that gathering tank.
Roughly about 40, 45 pounds per bucket. We probably lift about 1,000 of them a day.
Of pure maple sap. You see, in this particular neck of the woods, every drop of the sap is gathered by hand in these old pails. Now, how many of these do you have out here?
About 4,500.
And this senior citizen of an old Ford tractor hauls 1,500 pounds of sap away.
And they can do maybe, in a real busy day, up to 18 to 20 tanks a day.
But in other parts of the woods, the way they gather sap is a little bit more up to date.
This is called an extractor, and you can see the sap coming in, drawn in by this vacuum pump.
And with that many trees tapped, it takes a little horsepower to pull it all in.
And I think I just saw it was 21 and a half inches of vacuum, so that would be enough to pull your socks into the vacuum cleaner, for sure.
And there are at least 1,000 more taps in the woods. Tapping trees wasn't necessarily my forte, but I did give it a try, and I did strike gold, or sap.
It was working so good.
Mike demonstrated this drill thing before he started rolling.
I'd have to choke it.
And, of course, didn't want to work for me. So after Mike helped, got that part done. And after nailing in the tap, sap started flowing, and they did this 4,500 times already. Once was enough for me.
Are you okay with the ladder, climbing the ladder?
He doesn't know me very well, does he?
Yeah, this is all the sap that came out of the buckets. 800 gallons would make about 20 gallons of syrup once it's boiled down.
And from here, it goes inside to be made into syrup with an I.
If you looked up SIRUP, it was defined as the product made by boiling sap. And if you looked up SYRUP, it was defined as the product made by adding sugar to fruit juice.
There is no fruit in this stuff.
This is where we start taking the water out of the sap by boiling 40 gallons of sap down to 1 gallon of syrup. The green number here is a set point, so that's going to open the valve at that temperature.
And when that valve opens, syrup is made. And this product will be boiled one more time and then filtered before it's bottled.
The light amber is generally made at the very beginning of the season. When you first tap the trees, the sap's going to have a higher sugar content. And that means you don't have to boil it as long to get to the right concentration for syrup. The boiling is what caramelizes the sugar. It's what gives it the color, gives it the flavor. As the season goes on, the sugar content will drop, and you have to end up boiling it longer. So the longer boiling will give it a darker color and a stronger caramely, mapley taste.
Funks Grove opened up on March 1st. Now, Debbie tells me that the supply usually lasts until August, but that depends on how much they harvest right now.
When it gets really warm, really early, like it did last year, in February we had 60s and even some 70-degree days in February, and that for us is disastrous because that'll make the buds start to swell on the trees, and once the buds start to swell, the sap changes.
And that will affect how much syrup is made. So stock up now. Like now. Well, after the show.
A lot of love goes into making maple syrup.
How neat.
A lot of love.
Lots of love.
I like that they stick with like the old-fashioned way of
Yes.
syrup, S-I-R-U-P.
And it's defined in Webster's dictionary that way too. I mean,
Really?
after she said that, I looked it up. It's S-I-R-U-P, boiling down maple sap, and a ratio of 40 to 1. 40 gallons of sap, 1 gallon of syrup.
Wow.
So now it's our turn to
Dig
test it
in.
out.
Dig in.
So
This-
we're going to tell you guys exactly what we think of these pancakes. With
I think
this-
we need a food segment every week.
Yeah, I think maybe we should do this all the time.
I know.
Oh, it's so sweet.
so sweet.
Yeah, and they say the later on in the year when the syrup,
Oh my gosh.
more sugar leaves the sap as the year progresses. So you have to boil it down a little bit more, and you get a completely different texture and color out of the syrup. It's a little stronger, which is what I like.
The things you learn on
So
Mission
now
Daybreak.
is harvest time for syrup. Is that correct?
Correct.
This is like, even though it's mid-February or early March, kind of cold.
Right. They've been harvesting it for a while, but as the weather warms up, the sap or the trees will start to bud. And when the trees bud, the sap's no good.
No, sir. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know, these pancakes are good.
Super
but
good.
Something else that's good. Jessica, how's this weather? I mean.